All right, it's time for another edition here of Flex's Legal Bet. Thank you for joining in. It is Flex along with this sexy little stud muffin here. And I can introduce yourself.
Good morning, Raul Guajardo. Good morning, I'm Raul Guajardo. I'm an attorney here in Edinburgh, and we focus on personal injury cases.
Personal injury cases, amongst other things.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
How's it been going today?
Good.
How's court?
It was good, man. We set a quick status hearing for a trial date, so...
Going good. Don't forget, always look us up on our social media. Of course, this is every single week. We answer your questions. You got questions, we got answers. Plus covering topics that maybe you have stuck in your mind. Maybe you want to know, inquiring minds want to know. Like today's topic, chocolate or glazed donuts. That was today's topic, but I got another topic that just came in that we're going to cover. And it is about multivehicular accidents. And this came up because I can't mention names.
No, don't. Just you can tell them the situation. Shout out to Mommy Bonita.
That's the name. That's the name. No, so yeah, all right. It was a question that came through social media. Multivehicular accident. So the situation that came about was, unfortunately, she had a family member that was involved in an accident, and it was 4 altogether. So I know the question might come about because it's been happening recently, and especially with construction areas and stuff like that, weather. What kind of happens when you get yourself into a multi-vehicle accident?
Well, you've got to consider a couple of things. Time is of the essence on anything like this, because the fact of the matter is when there's more than one party, coverage is going to be limited. So it's going to depend if there was one person's fault, 2 drivers' faults, or 3, or whose fault it was. But in a typical scenario, we've had cases where we represent someone that has been at a stoplight, for example, and you have a car coming down the street, doesn't brake, hits 2 vehicles, and then, a third vehicle. So you got 4 vehicles involved. That person seems to be the only responsible party at times, unless the other vehicles did something different, like maybe they were too close to the other car, that kind of thing. But for the most part, let's assume that it's only one person who's responsible. That person has coverage, or should have coverage under the law, minimum coverage, which they should start thinking about raising that coverage because it's too low, to 30/60, which means you can get per person per accident. It's a $30,000 maximum and $60,000 per case per accident. So that means, let's say one person from that accident was involved, in the accident, had medical expenses in the amount of, let's say, $50,000, right? So the most that person can get is $30,000 from that policy.
Okay.
But for all the other parties involved, the most they can give out is $60,000. So what happens if you make a claim late, and everybody else starts getting paid? You're going to be left with...
you're going to lose that.
Yeah, going to be left with little or no money. So
it's not like it's not like a 60 per person. It's just altogether.
No, it's 30 per person, maximum of 60 per accident. That's what the law requires. Some people have more, they have 50,000, 5,100, or 100, 300. But that's because they may want to have extra coverage because they want to protect personal assets, that kind of thing.
Right.
But the law only requires you to have a 30/60, which is not a lot, man. Considering medical expenses nowadays.
And like you were saying, should be updated, especially with cost of everything going up.
Yeah, but you got to call your congressman.
Both this year.
So that's a big issue.
Yeah.
And we've seen that a lot. So I want to tell your friend to try and one, call us. But the important thing about doing that is you can't wait. You have to make a claim right away. When we have a situation like that, we make a claim nonetheless. There are still pending issues to consider, like, for example, treatment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you want to get your foot in the door right away.
So is that every individual that was involved policy? Does that each one get applied, or is it just kind of where was that fall?
Well, let's keep it simple. Let's say that only one person was at fault.
Okay.
Right? And the point I'm trying to make is that you only have a maximum of $60,000 to pay everybody. That's the main point. Of course, if you find somebody else who's responsible, you can also tap into their insurance should they have some.
Yeah.
Which also brings me to another point. That's why it's really important that you have underinsured. There's a policy you have that you can buy, of course, for your own insurance. It's not that expensive. You have uninsured, underinsured. So let's say that person who hit you doesn't have any coverage, or you have multi-vehicles, multi-parties, then you can tap into your own insurance once that policy gets exhausted. Because medical expenses are really, really high. I mean, you go to the hospital for one day, we've seen bills that are $60,000, $70,000. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It is.
Kind of like a personal gap insurance, so to speak, kind of covering whatever's not covered.
I guess so, yeah. But it's underinsured. That means that the other person didn't have enough coverage.
So,
Or uninsured. Let's say the person who hit you doesn't have coverage, so that person's uninsured. So then you can use your own insurance.
so I know you're saying first come, first served.
Yeah.
Does at any time the order of which the accident happened, like say, because you said you were at a red light, right? So you were the fourth person. Do you fall in line when that, or is it just straight up first come, first served?
Yeah, first come, first serve, man. I mean, there's case law nowadays, and I'm not going to bore you with that, but there's case law that you have to submit your claim first. And it's legal that you get left out if you don't. So that's bad, but, we've seen it both ways. Sometimes we get clients who come in here, and they come in here late, and then we realize that there's multi-vehicles, so we make a claim right away. And guess what? Everybody else already made a claim, and you're out of luck. So we've had that, and we've also had the opposite when we have a client that comes in right away. We make a claim right away so that we can have our client protected.
Right.
And everybody else, well, they didn't come to me, so I help my client.
So is there anything that the clients can do to make sure that they understand what coverages they have and what policies are in play, especially like during the accident?
Yeah, I would think that you have to get your declaration sheet, and you're welcome to come to me and no cost. I mean, we'll look at it together, and we'll let you know what kind of coverage you have, and we can make recommendations. Of course, we don't sell insurance, but we will recommend things that you should get, or maybe review it with you. But or you can review it with your agent as well. But you need to make sure that you understand what each policy does, or each thing that you have there on your declaration sheet does, right? If you have towing, if you have uninsured, if you have comp collision, you need to know what each item does for you.
Which you should get an explanation from the get-go.
Yeah.
Insurance people.
Yeah, sometimes there's an insurance out there, for example, that likes to sell insurance.
Are we saying names?
It's the name of a person, insurance. And they like to sell insurance, and they like to sell the minimum coverage. I think that's all they sell, but they don't like to sell. They don't offer you more, like underinsured, that kind of thing, for the most part. And then one of the funny things that I've seen about them do throughout the years is that they exclude everyone else that's not driving the vehicle.
Oh, okay.
People do not know that. People think they can let their son borrow their car, and they're not covered. If they were being in an accident, they're not covered. So it's one of the weird things that they've done in the past and that I've seen that I thought was bad. If your last name is Guajardo, they'll go and list everybody in your house and 5-mile radius. Anybody that's Guajardo around that area, even though you don't know them, they're going to exclude them.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen a long list. I mean, people have come here and given me a list of their, giving me the declaration sheet, and it says all these people are excluded. And I'm like, who's Jose Guajardo? And they're like, I don't know.
Within 5 miles?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they don't want to take any risks. They want to, if that's your cousin and you lend them their car, they want to make sure he's excluded. I mean, the name of the game is sell paper, right? Sell insurance. You sell paper and you don't have to pay anything back, It's just like you're selling paper, you're selling insurance, and if you don't ever have to pay a claim out, that's awesome, right? For them.
Yeah, for that, yeah.
Not for our clients. So.
We're dishing out the money.
Exactly. So we have a few trials coming up on those people.
I'm going to say, I want to say it so bad.
Don't.
Can we do rhyming?
No. They know.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, if you have an experience similar to the one that we just talked about here today, of course, you can shoot us a message at any time through our social media. We have our Facebook open, Instagram as well. You can also send it over through email, which can be found on our website, www.guajardo.com. We get lots of inquiries through there, and a couple of questions actually come in. So you can send those over. We'll answer them. Yeah. But don't forget, any questions you have, just send them right over. You're going to have to answer them.
Certainly. And if you have any more questions about this topic, give us a call, man. 956-318-3200.
You can find us here. Also have an office in McAllen, Brownsville, and San Antonio, covering the whole state of Texas. And he'll go all the way to Paris if he has to.
Paris, Texas?
Yeah, Paris, exactly. Paris, Texas. Don't forget to click a like and click subscribe. We're going to give this to you every single week. If you have any questions, be sure to give us a call. Other than that, we'll see you for the next Flex's Legal Bit. And why? Because we were with you.